Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Ready to start the show for tonight is Weebs of the Ring, episode 22 for tonight's Friday Night Smackdown. And for the Vash and Stampede, we got Nick Autos introducing Triple H, and Triple H is wanting attention, but getting disrespected from the stupid ass A-Town Down Under for the new titles. And then we have the Fatal 4-Way to see the number one contender. We have the Paul Heyman with the suited up solo and causing mayhem. We have much more going on with the night with the AJ Styles versus LA Knight to see the number one contender for the Universal WWE. No, it's undisputed WWE title of Cody Rhodes. We saw a mid match, Carlitos versus Santos. Sorry guys, but we'll talk about that. It was okay. I fell asleep. Shit happens. I did a stretch moment, but hey, shit happens. But then we have the main event of the Bayley versus Naomi. Gets interrupted by Tiffy time. So without further ado, like I said, it's Tiffy time. It's time for the show.
With anime in their souls and thoughts of wrestling out of control, we are a trio of weebs who love the entertainment of professional wrestling. Allow us to be the voices inside of your head as we go through the wrestling event of the evening, give our thoughts and predictions on what's to come, and provide an experience inclusive to all nerds. Grab your steel chair, yell for the table, and get put through an experience like none other. Brought to you by AniMa W3 Studio, this is the Weebs of the Ring podcast. And yes, I hope everyone had a great and awesome week. It has been a long week for some of us, especially whether you're working, whether it's health related, or it's just a long week. We're here to talk about wrestling. We're here to talk about Friday Night Smackdown. But who are we? Well, we are the three panelists on the Weebs of the Ring podcast. First and foremost, with all 14,994 doctors who have gathered in the Pittsburgh area, we, of course, have walk-ins right here on your screen. Also, above me, on my right side, I have my MFT, the one legend, D Vash. And sitting on the left-hand side of my head, we have feeling the glow during this Tiffy time, is Drop This Box. Guys, sorry I had to miss out on Monday. Things happen with health. Whatever, that's besides the point. How are you doing tonight? How are you two doing? And chat, how are you doing tonight? Hopefully it was a good night for you. Hopefully it was a great week for you. But guys, how you feeling tonight? How's everybody? How has your week been?
My week has been good. I honestly, seeing the SmackDown, I'm looking forward to the week of NXT, of Friday Night SmackDown, Monday Night Raw. What is like with this episode of SmackDown, you feel the actual television vibe. You feel the actual vibe of what it is in the show, or the television drama, the weekly show they're trying to produce and show to us. So it's dope to see that. And how I'm doing, people will see throughout the next couple weeks of the background being changed. That's all I'm gonna say, that y'all gonna be seeing a whole different look and background. Good or bad? It depends on perspective. Let's see how the life goes. But hey, life is going. You gotta appreciate it. And sometimes you gotta be careful of who you use a rental car for.
Yeah. Yeah, make sure you don't rent to those dirty professional wrestlers.
It
They
could get
might
crashed.
it could get crashed, or real glass might get shattered and many rivers will be cried upon. But Drop, how you been doing? How you been doing, man?
I've been doing pretty good. Next week is definitely going to be a pretty interesting week when it comes to professional wrestling, because we have Monday Night Raw. We also have the draft this next Friday, which is going to be which is coming in full effect. So we got that Friday and then the following Monday. So that's going to be really interesting to see where everybody goes. I did notice a lot of people online complaining about why certain storylines aren't really happening right now, or I actually was talking about this at work today, like people saying that Cody Rhodes is like a boring champion already. I mean, he just got the title last week, and you also have to keep in mind we're in the process of a draft. So Cody's not going to really get into a lot of things right away until everything's set in stone. So then Cody could go out and do what he wants to do. Because just like we saw tonight, like I mentioned on Monday, as soon as Cody knew who his next opponent was going to be, he was going to move forward with that storyline. So it takes patience, guys. You got to be patient and allow things to slowly build, because that's how Triple H wants to run his product, with good progression when it comes to stories. And you can clearly see that with this episode of SmackDown. And we might also see a couple swan songs in NXT next week too. Spring breaking.
I would like to add to that, because like you asked how our week's been. So I also been catching up to a lot of interviews or content from our boring champion, like in the Pat McAfee show on the Monday night of previous week, right after night 2 of WrestleMania. Pat McAfee said that he's calling this as the off season, like the next couple weeks that is before the draft. He does the interviews, he does the show, he does the meet and greet, he does the media press. He's traveling right now overseas to promote the product, to promote himself as a champion, and to be the fighting champion, as what has been represented by Seth Rollins, and for what the past 4 years that has been represented by Roman Reigns. So for that being the case, it's just very shocking of how the audience say this. Is like, yo, we've been wanting this. Like, why do you need to complain? See the story progression. Right now, Cody's not here. How can you say it's boring when right now he's doing press junket? Like, how you complaining about him holding the belt wrong when literally his father and other wrestlers was holding that belt like it's a treasure gold? Like, that's how you hold it. Like, this is your baby. Like you're holding it with respect. You're holding it like it's a showcase. You're showcasing the belt, where if you meet anybody, you can literally move your hand anywhere and any time in a placement to show what you're showing to the audience or to anybody in the crowd.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like we're in this weird period where it's like, okay, it's after Mania. A lot of the big stories are done. So we're already starting from ground zero with that part. But then you throw in the draft with that. You got it like this weird amoeba phase where it's like, okay, we got to wrap up a few things, but like we still got to keep things going. That's why like we are getting some of these matches like, you know, Naomi versus Bayley for the title, you know, because that's something that's pushing along a story, but like maybe something that's going to Backlash possibly further down the line, you know. So
question
to say, yeah, go ahead.
Talking about further about the line, because this is news related towards our conversation about WrestleMania, where there's a rumor or speculation of WrestleMania being moved until the end of April, beginning of May, for the weather condition, if they want to all have it in a open stadium still and not have it as a closed stadium because of weather condition in case of the East Coast. Or what happened on night 1, people was extremely cold. Night 2, people were much better in the crowd audience response. So how do you guys feel about that? Because this is kind of news related towards our conversation about WrestleMania, where next year WrestleMania has always been in the beginning of May from the many years I could remember. But how does it feel like to now move it, or do we move now Backlash before WrestleMania as another type of PLE before WrestleMania, since we always had Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber? Now there's no type of spot in March or April now if we move it the end of April in the beginning of May.
Right.
Do we know if that's an actual thing? Because if it's coming from a certain person that me and Walkings could possibly think it's coming from, I'd take it with a grain of salt.
The pot.
I'd take it with a grain of salt for now, because nothing's confirmed, nothing's set in stone. Rumors are always going to come out all the time.
What do you guys think of the idea? That's a question why I'm asking. Like, even if it doesn't happen or not, But
Well,
it's always been something that has been caused about the weather because the beginning of May when it's always been presented here
Mhm.
into the East Coast.
I mean,
So yeah.
it all depends on like how they want to structure it, really, because it's really hard to tell how next year is going to be because we as the audience don't really know their full lineup yet, so we don't know how they're going to structure everything in the little roadmap that they have. And going off to what you said about rearranging PLEs, um, I think everything would still remain the same. Like you would get that Royal Rumble Elimination Chamber, and then you would get that WrestleMania. Backlash has always been after WrestleMania because Backlash, in a way, it's like getting your revenge after what happened at Mania. You get a couple rematches there. You get feuds lit up again for one last time, kind of like how you
Mhm.
saw when Cody was Seth's surprise opponent at WrestleMania all those years ago, and then Seth was like really salty about it, so he wanted to get his revenge on a Backlash. Backlash is like a B-level pay-per-view, and it's just always been after Mania, so I don't think they're gonna rearrange it. My question, honestly, is how are they gonna structure the build-up to WrestleMania? Because, um, like I said, PLEs are probably gonna remain the same at the beginning of the year. I would honestly be surprised if they move Royal Rumble to like a February or something. It really wouldn't make sense because you want to go like November where Survivor Series is, and then you wait December, January, February for like another pay-per-view. So I feel like it's still going to be in January. You'll probably get your Elimination Chamber so you can figure out the other contenders because of what you had with the men and
Mhm.
women's Royal Rumble winners.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of curious, like if they do go to May, you're gonna go a May and April build. I mean, a March April build into Mania. Like I don't know how I don't know if that really makes sense to like structure it that way.
Yeah, there's a good 8 weeks of shows of both Raw and SmackDown trying to build up for that, and then you also have to move, not stand and deliver, as well, an extra 4 weeks ahead.
Yeah, I vote on if they want to put it at maybe a later date in April, they could do that. But I really wouldn't move the April slot because I feel like if you just move a whole bunch of pieces around at once, it's just gonna create a huge mess, and it's not gonna really flow well. Well, at least that's how I see it. I personally wouldn't be a fan of
Mhm.
it, honestly. I love the format that they have now. I really wouldn't like if they went down that direction personally.
Yeah. I'm trying to find like the actual source for it, and I saw a tweet that said that Fightful had reported it.
Oh,
Um,
they did.
but like it
Okay.
might have been, but like I'm going through some of their tweets right now, and I'm not really seeing anything that stuck out with it. But you know, I'm also not wearing my actual glasses, so I can't really read it. But that's besides the point. I mean, yeah, it's gonna be a weird build if they do move it, because like even if they keep like Royal Rumble in January, like that's like let's say it's still at the end of January, all right? So like end of January, beginning of February, you still have like 3 months to build, which okay, yeah, slow build. We've seen that WWE lately can pull off a good slow build, but that it's just weird to think of WrestleMania in May. Like
Yeah.
I get the reasonings behind some of it. Maybe one year they can do it just to see how it is, like kind of like how they did with the 2 day WrestleMania thing. Because I know that's something that a lot of people had been asking even before COVID happened. Like
Yeah.
there were a lot of people online saying, "Hey, Mania should go to 2 days because there's a lot of matches on just one night."
Yeah.
And I mean, that kind of transitioned pretty well. I mean, again, COVID wasn't the kindest thing to a lot of people, but some good things didn't happen and come out from it. And especially in the wrestling sphere, some of that was during COVID, like the 2 night WrestleMania, it's like the Tribal Chief stuff coming out.
Wait,
Like,
so the
I
two
don't know,
nights of
but
WrestleMania happened in 2020?
it was 2020 for WrestleMania 36. That's the
Wow.
first year they did that. But they were only able to do that because they didn't have a crowd. It was literally just playing, performing from the sound guy and
but
the announcers.
I love that they still continue it after years with
Mhm.
the ideology for that. I'm all for it.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
So if they have the opportunity to at least test it, then I'm all for it. So at least I can at least see how it goes. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see, I guess, with
But
Yeah.
that one.
before we wait and see, guys, before we continue on with the show, I want to let everyone know, continue supporting, subscribing, follow us like where you are watching us on twitch.tv/AniMa W3 Studio or on the YouTube side as well on AniMa W3 Studio, where we represent for animation, manga, wrestling, weebs, and webtoons as well is what this new brand is going to continue moving forward, be discussing and showing what we are doing for our future shows and production. And we can also follow us down below, as you see in the lower third is AniMa W3 Studio and Legendary Vash, Drop This Box, and Walk-ins with the hashtag of always a Weebs in the Ring. So continue supporting our channel, and we appreciate you guys watching the show because we're 22 episodes in and going to continue bringing you guys awesome content every Monday and Friday after the live shows. And for the short form content, always on TikTok, IG, and everywhere else.
Yes, look at those plugs just being plugged into the wall and sparking our electricity to move forward. But yeah, so great conversation to start our night off with. Now, as great as WrestleMania is, as much as I can't wait for WrestleMania 41, even though that's a year away, that's the thing. That's a year away from now. I don't care about what's a year away from now. That's again, it's a year from now. That's 2025 walk-ins. Nah, this is 2024 walk-ins. This is April 19th, 2024. We got SmackDown to talk about, and I don't know about you guys. This might have been the I almost said it was the best, but I don't want to say that yet. But this was a very strong show, SmackDown.
Great SmackDown. I'll give it that word. Not perfect. If there wasn't one match that we'll talk about later, I would have said this was a perfect SmackDown.
Yeah, the matches, high quality, actually given time too. That's one thing. Our in-ring promos segments were short, sweet, to the point, and I don't know, everything tonight just it flowed really well, and just the energy was still there, and even I know we'll get to Bayley versus Naomi here in a little bit, but even that match was very hard hitting, and I'm sitting there watching some of these matches, I'm like, man, this is some good action coming from WWE, and not to put down anything we've seen in the past few months, but I don't know, there was a certain energy in the room that night. I don't know if it was just Pittsburgh or what, but everybody was just on it tonight, and kudos to every performer and production crew on SmackDown tonight, because everybody was on their A game.
Hell yeah, it was. I was very proud, even though I did not know what the fuck MFT was throughout the whole 2 hours of the show until Job told us what it was. I was like, oh, it was such a simple word of phrases that I couldn't figure it out. Cool. I felt very clueless. I'm like, that's what MFT was. My family goddamn tree. Shit.
Don't worry, you're not the only one. But with our strong SmackDown, we had probably one of the big stories to come from this is, hey, we have new tag titles. Finally. No more SmackDown titles, no more Raw titles. No, we have the World Tag Team Championships and the WWE Tag Team Championships. Drop, how do you feel about these? Because these are awesome. I'm not gonna lie, they're awesome.
I'm just gonna say these titles look a hell of a lot better than the ones that we got on Monday, because I'm not really a fan of the World Tag Team titles, just because I think it's just the World Heavyweight Championship with just World Tag Team Champions just slapped on it. I didn't think it was that creative. I felt like they could have done a little bit better with that. And just looking at the kind of titles that they gave us tonight, it makes me think you definitely could have done a lot better than that, because if they really wanted to put like a similar thing with like how titles look with like the WWE title and stuff like that. At first, I was honestly expecting, just because of what we got on Monday, it was going to look just like that with like a few little changes, and then you were going to slap tag team champions on there. But the fact that it's actually something different, it doesn't look identical to anything on that brand. I'm honestly hoping we see a change with that maybe in years to come. Because I definitely feel like if we're looking at that title alone, I feel like you want to fully enter that new era, especially after the draft, because the draft goes full effect after Backlash, just like how it did last year. So I would honestly feel like whenever you get your whole draft sorted out, I feel like you should honestly change Cody's title to be like the modern version of the American Eagle belt.
I
You
agree.
could easily do that because they could be creative. They showed us tonight. They can be creative. Be creative with more titles. I understand, that title hasn't been around for that long, but at the same time, they can change all these different superstars' music like nothing. So I feel like they could easily just, take their time, work on another title, and put it out. Because they obviously saw the audience's reaction tonight. They loved it. And I love it too. I honestly kind of wish that we got something like that on Monday. Something
yeah.
I just like when things don't look the same. Because when things look the same, it bothers me.
And we have to
It
have
really
some
does.
individuality for these titles. Like it has to mean something. Don't just slap the big W in the world. Like we get it. Fuck the marketing. Fuck what it is that we need to do when it comes to looks and design. I'm sorry. As somebody for the company narrative, I'm not gonna smack the A and the W3S all the damn time, or the WOTR for Weebs of the Ring all the damn time. No, if what it looks, that's what matters to design. This design, once it got revealed, I love it. I was happy not seeing no blue, no small lettering of blue on it, just to have the same replica of the Monday titles. Nah, these titles was gorgeous. I saw them like, yo, these look like the 2000s titles of the tag ones with the eagle on the corner. I'm like, this is amazing. Like, please redo
that's what I'm saying.
the title redo the title of Bayley and Cody. Smack that ugly ass big W letter of gold ass piss that does not need to be there. Cause that shit's just a whole marketing of W, and I'm like, yo, you're just literally carrying a whole bold ass letter. Just drop that shit out.
Look,
sorry, who?
Look, don't be messing with my free marketing now. Look, I can just grab these belts, and they fit my brand so well. And like they fit, don't make fun of my brand.
Like the thing is, if they can do what they did tonight with these titles, they can do it with other ones too. Because like Vash alluded to, with Cody's belt especially, the belt that he has now, the only reason why it looked like that is because the two belts that Roman had prior morphed into that, and that's why that title looks the way it does. That's why a Universal Championship was a thing, because that was strictly made for Roman. So now that, Roman's reign is over, and now that we're moving on to a new era, I feel like they can definitely switch up things. And Cody's always talked about how he wanted the American Eagle. So after looking at these belts tonight and showing how they can still have their brand in here, they can still show the W. It doesn't have to be like that super huge and just slapped on the middle like you saw with the titles that we got tonight. I feel like they could easily do that with any other ones if they want to put out some new titles. Like I'm honestly hoping we see a few changes in the next 2 to 3 to 4 years.
And I think what I like the most about, and this might also kind of be a dig at the world heavyweight title right now too, but I like how the world tag team title, not the world, the WWE tag team titles I like how they are a good updated homage to the old world tag team titles. Like,
Yeah.
yes, they're they're similar in like look or like in shape or whatever, but the design is still different and it's still like it's new and updated. So we're still pressing the nostalgia button on some of those older fans, but some of the younger fans are like, wow, that looks really cool. So I do appreciate that aspect of the WWE tag titles, and I'm gonna probably keep mixing them up with the world tag titles just because that's how my brain distinguishes
Boy,
that
I'm
look.
gonna use
But
I'm gonna use a cheat code. I'm gonna call them the Raw titles and SmackDown titles because it's a tongue twister to do that all the damn time, just to save the headache and save the tongue twister. Not doing it for every damn show on my end. I'm just calling it these SmackDown titles of tag titles are fucking beautiful. That's it.
Mhm.
And for the number one contender match, fucking phenomenal.
oh, it was so
Might as well-
good.
Might as well jump
Oh.
jump into that now since it flowed with
Oh, yeah.
that. Anyway.
Oh my gosh. Like, I mean, first of all, A-Town Down Under were on commentary, which booed them, And thank you, Corey Graves, for getting back at Grayson Waller. Don't let him badmouth the Steelers too much. He might incite a riot. You're in Pittsburgh.
Well, man,
I mean,
he was in a mood tonight because we didn't mention either.
was.
He disrespected the boss, and Nick Aldis also said, "Yo, if you disrespect the boss, I can make your titles and make you disappear." I was like, "Yes, this is my GM. I like this. Now you gotta show me why you are the world champion back in the TNA. Show me why you're the boss."
Exactly. But yeah, so we have this fatal four-way tag match. Winner is the number one contender. Now, they didn't specify that this was going to be at Backlash. They had said at a future time.
Yeah, I was hella confused and mad about that. Like,
Yeah.
I guess y'all don't know when to promote this, so y'all literally said, "To be determined. We don't know ourselves yet."
I was gonna say, since they're doing the match between Awesome Truth and DIY on Monday, I don't see why they can't just do it on Friday. They might actually announce it next week that it's gonna happen on Friday, because that would be the smart decision, honestly. Because that way, on Raw, it's like on Raw, you have that match, you get it out of the way, you figure out who wins that. So that's all settled for the draft, and then on Friday you could have that match. You could get that all situation, and then that could settle with the draft. So at least you don't have to second guess, who's going to go to this brand, who's going to go to that brand. I feel like you might as well just throw it all together before the draft ends.
Yeah, but it also wouldn't surprise me either if they save this because they have a SmackDown that's in France before Backlash, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it wouldn't surprise me if they saved it to that too, because it's also not the first time where they would be like, oh, well, technically this team's on Raw, but they're going for the titles that are staying on SmackDown. Who's gonna win? And I mean, it kind of makes the winner obvious at that point sometimes, but sometimes Triple H will throw a wrench in there. But that wouldn't surprise me at all. But either one is fine in my book, to be honest. Like, I'm looking forward to the match that we will eventually get, but man, this match though, this fatal four-way tag match was, this was really good. Like, this is why I love tag team wrestling, because like each team had a role to play, mainly AOP. Like, they were the walls of this match. Like, we had 2 commercial breaks during this match, and every time we went back to the match, AOP was on top. Like, and I think it was Corey Graves said that something along these lines on commentary too. It's like oh shoot, how'd he say it? How'd he word it? It was like, no matter what happens, they're always on top. They know how to take control of the match. They know how to dictate the pace of the match. Like, all those buzzwords that they'll use on commentary. Like, every time we came back from commercial break, it was always them in control. So
And who
That was basically the whole story, the whole crux of this match is like, okay, we need to get them out of control so that way, like, the rest of these three teams can just go balls to the wall, just like high flying, quick, fast paced action.
it was so good. I gotta give a shout out to Tyler Bate. He shocked me
Yeah.
when he grabbed one of the guys of AOP. And yo, Legado, fuck you. In the most
Yeah.
respectful way, because my guy, I wanted to see Tyler Bate carry him around for a couple of spins. Just spin him around AOP. I wanted to see it, but then Legado had to ruin the fun. Such a beautiful match. This match truly was an unexpected match that I didn't expect to get on a live TV show on Friday Night SmackDown. Pure tag team wrestling. I agree with everything that Watkins said. This is how tag team wrestling should be. This is how tag team wrestling should be on WWE on a weekly of SmackDown and Raw. This was such a good combatment. Even though I didn't like Legado interference, but they did their purpose. Flying around, jumping, do these moves. Did this beautiful combinations with the other tag teams. Montez Ford flew with Legado on a triple fly. Two of them flew left and right, and the Ford came down on AOP. Such a nice tag little jump there. I love it.
Yep. Man, there were some other good parts of this match. Like, where was it? Oh yeah, there was one point in here where Humberto is just chilling in the corner while everyone's like fighting, and Angel Garza's just in the ring by himself, and he's like facing off against it's like after they took out AOP one of the times, and like Angel Garza's like fighting everybody off, and then Humberto just like jumps in the ring and almost like a bullet like goes right to the like the middle rope, does like the springboard kick move onto Dawkins. Like that thing was quick. It was like a gunshot almost how quick he moved off those ropes and just attacked Dawkins like that.
I love the
like
other.
that.
I love the other time that he flew in out of the ring, heading to where the crowd was by the ramp. Again, it was Legado. I think it was Humberto. I think he was jumping on New Catch Republic. And he just flew and like he bounced on the middle rope. I'm like, they're really good flyers. Like they really practice this moves and make sure they get it on the spot. Like I love how these guys, even though they're the heels and we're not supposed to like them, but we gotta give respect where's respect due on their movesets.
Yeah, like it was just he was all over the place in the best possible ways, and I mean so was everybody else too. It's like even New Catch Republic, they had a couple moments where they just destroyed everybody. And man, I think one of my favorite moves of Tyler Bates is his like fake punch thing, where like he lifts his arm up and then he punches you with the other one.
Oh yeah.
I think that might be my favorite move in his arsenal.
I was honestly rooting for New Catch Republic in this. I mean, I'm fine with Street Profits. But I was shooting for New Catch Republic only because there was that part of me thinking that Triple H wanted DIY and New Catch Republic to hold the titles because those are his black and gold boys right there. Yeah. So, but regardless, though, Street Profits definitely needed it more because, they got a big win at WrestleMania, so you might as well capitalize on it. Should still be a good match regardless.
Oh, yeah.
No lie.
And
I was kind of hoping for AOP to get kind of a bit of a heel work.
I get that, but I would assume they would probably have a face and heel. It's always been like a face and heel match. So there's only like two possible winners out of that, either New Catch Republic or Street Profits. And Street Profits definitely need to move on to something new. Especially since more than likely Final Testament's going to NXT because NXT is a part of the draft. So they have a say of who they want to bring down there as well. So they're more than likely going to head down that direction since they started something with Nathan Frazier and Exaxium. I can't say his name. But That's why I feel like that's probably a good opportunity for them. So then they can finally go on that path to get tag team gold because they haven't had tag team titles for quite some time.
Yeah, and then Karrion Cross can hopefully get better
Yeah,
back in NXT too, because
I
yeah, I
would.
need him to
Yeah,
get better.
he'll give him a good chance because Baron Corbin went over there and it did wonders for him. So
Oh yeah,
you
like
never
his
know.
character work just excelled since he went back to NXT.
Oh yeah,
Ah man, but yeah, I mean, this was a this was a barn burner of a match, and even the closing segments of this match just fast paced. Street Profits picking up the big win. Like this was a big win. Like there were a few near falls in this match because I was in the same boat as you. Drop. I wanted Newcastle Republic to get this
oh yeah.
win and then get the titles, but
I almost
I
thought
mean,
we were
again,
getting it too.
I know, but I am perfectly fine with the Street Profits. I love them too, and
Mm.
kind of the same boat as you. Let's just move on from their thing with the Final Testament. I don't know why I almost said New Testament, but that's besides the point.
About to say that's a whole different kind. Oh,
Yeah.
one thing that I'm very happy for Street Profits is to see them holding these new titles because I'm sure these new titles are gonna
Hmm.
look good with it. Hoping that Bobby gets something out of this moving forward as well to get back in the limelight. That after AJ Styles loses, that if Street Profits does win in the coming weeks, Bobby Lashley hopefully is the next runner up for the number one contender for Cody. I hope as well because Bobby did say that he believes he has another run for the title. I hope that this is a bit of a start of it because Bobby is like acting like the manager of Street Profits, but also like the ringleader as well. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
mixed there. So I'm hoping he gets a bit. If he was a just manager for the next couple months, I don't mind either. Hey man, stay healthy, stay good because Big E still can't come back. So hey man, brother, you gotta do what you gotta do to be safe. So if you're right now
Yeah.
not doing anything and you're doing the manager role, he's looking good. Fuck it.
Yeah, exactly. So again, great match, great segment. Love the titles, love everything about it. But let's kind of move on from that. I think
Yeah.
because we have so much more to talk
Yeah,
about. We have
who
so
is
many
looking
things
good?
to dive in. Who's looking good? Oh, I'll tell you who's looking good. Well, I guess our now new hockeyed up Solo is looking good because he just shows up all suited up. Like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. When when Solo was on screen tonight, he reminded me of like a GTA character, like
Hmm.
one that's like just gotten like finally gotten that mafioso role that they've wanted.
Yeah.
So, but like it's so interesting looking at Solo as the leader compared to Roman because it's like okay, Roman he was a little more calculated. He was little more, let's plan things, let's talk about things and all that. Where like Solo, he's kind of acting like a thug, man. And
Yo,
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie, I kind of like it. I
yo.
kind of like it a
He's not.
lot.
He's honestly been waiting for this opportunity for quite some time
Oh, he
because you can
has.
definitely
Yep.
tell because of how Roman's been acting lately and how he feels like he should be at a different level than where he is right now. And you even saw
Yeah.
like during the match at WrestleMania, he's like, finish it, do this, do that. And it's not like Solo has an excuse of why he's in the position he's in now because Roman did appoint him to be the tribal here. So he pretty
Hmm.
much took that position, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna reference it when Roman comes back, or Roman's gonna be like, "Why are you doing this, Solo?" Solo's gonna be like, "Well, you did promote me to be the tribal here, where I was the next one in line." And I really like this direction that it is going with Solo because it makes it more interesting for his character. And I feel like it's actually about time you do something for his character so he's not always there, just sitting in the background the entire time, looking like he's lost in space or whatever. Like, it's actually good that we're getting a new direction for his character so you can actually see more of his strengths. And especially when you have him like talking more, something that he doesn't normally do. He's usually there just to take somebody out, almost like
Yeah.
a bodyguard, pretty much. So it's nice that he's taking this role. because it could definitely elevate to his character to other levels. It can get people interested. Because I know one of the things that I've noticed online that a lot of people said about Solo is they just said, "Oh, Solo just stands there. He does nothing." Like, what are they gonna do with Solo's character? I mean, you always got Jimmy doing something. You always had Jace doing something when he was a part of the Bloodline. Obviously, Roman was always doing his thing. Heyman was there. What was Solo doing? Like, you need to really elevate Solo's character. You need to make him believable, especially when it comes to matches with the role he has now as the tribal chief.
Yeah.
Which I definitely feel it's the whole puppeteer from The Rock. The Rock's obviously behind the scenes orchestrating the entire thing. I think that's clear as day. I think it's clear that we all know, just based on the presentation right now, that Roman Reigns more than likely is going to be coming back as a baby face. And I feel like with the baby face run that he'll have when he comes back, I feel like it'll be a lot more successful because it would feel organic rather than it being forced like it was all those years ago. Because at least he has the respect from the people. People care about him now. They were chanting, "We want Roman." So obviously he's going to get a proper babyface run when he comes back. And I feel like Roman doesn't really need to be obviously that old character he was, a big dog. I feel like Roman can still be himself, just like how LA Knight is. Even though LA Knight is a face, LA Knight still feels the same way, like he was a heel, where he's just talking trash, he's getting to people's faces, he's attacking them, he's doing this, he's doing that. I feel like Roman can still do the same thing, keep the same attitude as he did before, pack those punches that he does, talk someone down on the mic. I feel like we're still going to get that same Roman. I don't really think there's going to be that many changes.
No.
But I really
shouldn't be.
No, there definitely shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So,
And so I think with Solo's role right now, I love the idea of him being, or how he's always been, just this silent observer. Like, yeah, he's been, the powerhouse, or like
but he's
the
learning, he's
hitman
observing.
or whatever.
You being
Exactly.
silent don't mean that you're just doing nothing. You silent, you're observing, you're watching. Like any type of employee that's watching a manager do a manager, you want to take that manager job after that manager gets promoted or leaves to the next job. You want to be the next person to line up. So you observe. You are the mentee. That's how Solo became that. Like the reason I was laughing with Watkins
I was going to ask you
about the reference of about the Grand Theft Autos, because if you guys ever been on Twitter or on IG and see an ad about a game of a mafia street dog, and then he somehow levels up and then becomes like the mafia boss, you probably have. If you guys have seen those ads on IG or Twitter, that's what that reminded me of Solo. We have seen him as the thug, the enforcer, the street thug, is what Corey Graves always calls him on the fucking commentary.
Solo promises you no ads whatsoever. Don't even have to pay to win. I am full. And then 5 minutes later, you get an ad. And it's just like, Solo, you lied to me. Nah, I got your money now.
That's what I envision of you telling me about the Grand Theft Auto switch of the character. That remind me of the ads I've seen on IG and Twitter of what we're getting about those mafia street dogs to the boss. And that's why I saw Solo. Like, he literally came out. Paul Heyman's reaction is like, boy, what the fuck? How do you come out? Wait, okay. What? You just wear a whole suit? Like, you was wearing feet and sandals for the past 2 WrestleManias. Now you're wearing a whole suit and tie? Or, well, hold on, tie not yet. But you are a whole wearing suit?
Yeah.
You got shoes now?
He definitely needs a new gimmick, so I'm happy they're trying something out to see if it works. I feel like it's gonna pay off very well.
But it's just funny that people make fun of it, like, Solo can't talk. Like, motherfucker, let him improve then. Let him get better. Yeah. The point is that we're gonna shit on him. Is to force him to get better. Same thing with Dominic. Don't shit on Solo when he's now, getting his character work, his character progression. This is his arc that he's coming out observing from being the tribal hair to be the guy to actually be the tribal chief. When Paul Heyman, I forgot who said it of the team in our chat, that this is what Paul Heyman meant when the Bloodline story could continue forever. Like, literally, the fucking Samoan lineage, bloodline could continue for the next 20, 30 years. All these fucking family of cousins and brothers and sisters literally have a Samoan of sisters and daughters bloodline. They can literally bring them on for the next 10, 15 years and continue the story like, nah, I'm the next tribal chief, I'm the next boss. I got this street thug next. That's what is interesting. Like, this is a royal family in wrestling.
Yeah,
It's basically the Samoan Bullet Club.
and I have a feeling. I know who we're getting at Backlash, possibly. Especially when it comes to Jay's match, or certain other person in the family that recently got signed.
Also, you think that Jacob Fatu is going to be revealed in Backlash of France? Oh, that'd be an interesting question.
Possibly.
SmackDown reveal or Backlash? If you had to put your gambling right now, would it be SmackDown or Backlash of France?
I would say the pay-per-view. They want to get a pop at the pay-per-view. That's what I'm thinking. That's only if they target Jay. But if they're, I feel like they're alluding that Jay is gonna get a part of the storyline again, because they brought it up on Monday, asking him his thoughts on what happened, and he was mentioning how, like, there's a lot of people in our family. We don't know who's coming up next.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
they're definitely going. So I wouldn't be surprised when he has that match with Damian. Besides, like, Judgment Day being there like they always are, I would not be surprised if they had a Solo, Tama Tonga, mainly those two, because Heyman is like clueless of what's going on. But it's like, I wouldn't be surprised having those two there. Now targeting Jay, because you never know. Jimmy could possibly show up. We're not 100% sure. Like, I don't think he's going to be written off like 2 to 3 months. He'll definitely come back when they call him to come back. But you never know, something happens there. And let's say Jimmy goes there. For example, I'm just setting an example. Let's say Jimmy goes there, tries to back up Jay. Jay's like, why are you doing this to me? Me and you just had beef a few weeks ago. Why are you coming to my aid for? And then you're obviously, I was talking about this with my friend. I was like, you're probably going to have that similar situation with Jimmy and Jay, like you had with KO and Sammy last year, slowly trying to rebuild that trust so they can become friends again. That's going to be a thing you'll see with their relationship. But I also wouldn't be surprised if they think that they're evenly numbered, because if you look at it, they are, because you got Solo and Tama Tonga, and then you got Jay and Jimmy, and then you're going to have that third person pop up, and it's going to be Jacob Fatu. So then he's going to factor in. And my God, that guy's nasty. I've seen the kind of stuff that he's capable of. He's nasty. Like,
dude, I saw a clip. I saw a clip the other day of like somebody captioned it as a Samoan whisper in the wind, and I'm just like, yeah, that's pretty much what that was. But like, it was crazy. Top rope, just like screwdriver flip and all that. Like, it looked good too.
I will say it right here, right now. I think he is the most athletic out of all the Samoans. He's the most agile. I'll say, like, from what I've seen, and this is his start of his career. This is only in the Indies. Imagine 10 years from now, 5 years from now, from the improvement from the mic work and the extra character work of layers that he could do. So far, just athleticism and just as wrestling alone, to me, this is the best of the Samoans we have seen. Because I can't wait to see him how he brings. Because right now, it, like, not to jump into the end, but the way Tama Tonga showed his savagery against Kevin Owens and showing that, like, how he is a monster, showing that he was savage against Kevin Owens, ready to bring the chair, ready to go against Nick Aldis, ready to take out all the security guards just to go against Kevin Owens, and how Kevin Owens was rebelling to go back in the fight. He was going against it, so it was really intriguing and loving to see all the different sides of Samoans. One who, knows how to speak on the mic. One that was improving. One who's very savagey. Like, I love all these different types of the Samoans that we get to see, but they're not all the same. They each have a different personality and how they handle things so far already.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And you look
and
at how Tama Tonga is as well. They're really setting him up as like he's a guy you don't want to mess around with because
yeah.
you see him coming out, and I wasn't expecting KO to come out all bloody. So that caught me off
Oh, I
guard.
wasn't
So it looks,
either, dude.
and
I
one of the
wasn't
things
either.
I
Like
do
he.
like about that is the fact that they're adding color when it matters. Because
Mhm.
it's fine if you want to show blood every so often, that's completely okay, but you got to show it when it matters. When it comes to a storyline like this, where they
Oh,
want it to be taken seriously, they want us as the audience to know that Tama Tonga are just this new version of the Bloodline as a force to not be messed with. You need to get to levels like that. Like Vash said earlier, showing the segment where Tama Tonga drove his car into Kevin Owens and then he just pulls him out and just drags him to the ring. It just makes
Yeah,
him look like a guy that you don't want to approach. And I can only
yeah.
imagine how they're gonna make Jacob Fatu look.
Like it's not only just like a no nonsense kind of thing that we're seeing from Solo, because like we saw it with like a lot of his dialogue tonight. Like as soon as he got to the arena, after greeting Paul Heyman, he's just like, "Where's Kevin Owens? Go find Kevin Owens." Later on in the night, did you find Kevin Owens?
no, he's
You
nowhere to be
didn't? All
found.
right.
No.
Nope. All right,
Yep.
just on to the ring. And like Paul Heyman started stuttering in his words too. Like he was trying to be like, my tribal chief, and then like Solo's just like, nah, I'm not taking this. Where's Kevin Owens? And then we get the reveal of him being bloody, but like it's not only just like him not taking any shit, but it's also like you guys were saying, like Tama Tonga just being crazy. Like there's no restraint with this. Like unlike with Roman, where like we had little spurts of him like snapping. He never unhinged himself. He still like he always listened to Paul Heyman. He had Paul Heyman as an anchor, somebody to like
Mhm.
bring him back before going too far. And the problem with Solo is with him being the silent observer that he had this more twisted mindset of like, okay, Paul Heyman isn't he's not an anchor, he's a crutch. He is like a wall that is holding us back from actually being what we
Mhm.
can be. And we're seeing that now. The no nonsense attitude, the crazy attitude. Like the freaking Nick Aldis had to like put the fear of God into Paul Heyman. Like if I don't know if you guys remember like months ago, like Paul Heyman would talk to Nick Aldis very cocky and very like high and mighty, and now he's like fearing for his life, not only just because Bloodline kind of lost their power, but like now they're unhinged. They like nothing's able to hold them back, and the only thing that kind of can eventually will end up being Roman Reigns. And I
Mhm.
mean, that's when we'll get more story stuff about, oh, was it The Rock that set this all up? And, it could lead into that. Like, this is exactly what Triple H was meaning by like the whole thing with the bloodline, the whole thing with Roman Reigns and the bloodline is
There's the
about to
layers to it.
explode into something like not only just layers, just like not even just a depth, just the I'm at a loss for words for what I'm trying to get across here. It's just like the pure awesomeness of what can happen in this
Look,
story, and it's great.
what I love about this segment, the segment between the car, the Tomatunga bring on the ring,
Hmm.
it reminded me of Raw SmackDown versus Raw SmackDown back in 2008 or 2004, 2002, when I remember Triple H also ran the car to somebody else. I think Triple H ran the car to Vince, uh, back in the day in regular programming, but it was consequences. I love how Nick Aldis told Payman, like, you think that there's consequences? Play around. There's no tolerance next week, or you will find out what
Yeah.
are consequences. Even a guy with your power or to your level or something like that, he said at the end. And I
Hmm.
love that very much because we're starting to now feel the consequences now on a weekly programming on a 365 days, 52 weeks, no, 50 episodes a week of Raw and SmackDown a year. Now we're starting to feel what it is that if something happens on this night, SmackDown or Raw of this week, it's going to affect the next week. It's going to affect next month. It's going to play back from last month. What happened last month is important enough from 3 months from now. More. So like it feels that extra grounded real world to the world of pro wrestling of WWE, and I love that.
Yeah. Now I will say I do have one just one teeny tiny little nitpick.
What was your complaint? That the car was on fire?
Look, the car should have exploded in a million pieces. No, okay. It's how much Kevin Owens fought back. Like, I'm not against him, struggling to get back to fight and all that. That's fine and all. And, having a little bit of the comeback was fine. But I felt like, it was mainly after Solo threw him into the steps and then threw him back in, and then Kevin still started to keep fighting. I think that was the point where I'm just like, okay, maybe not have that part of the fight back. But again, that is like the tiniest, like millimeter of the nitpickiest of nitpicks that ever did nitpick in this sport. And it's just, again, like we were saying, the layers, the depth, the character work, just everything that's going on with the Bloodline stuff has been really good. And the crazy part is Roman's not even here for it. Like, they're giving Solo the chance to, like, not be on his own, but just kind of flourish a little bit more and actually, like, be somebody other than the silent observer.
Exactly. Like, it's going to be very interesting how we lead up to next week. Because, guys, you know what? The draft starts next fucking Friday. Time has flown. 3 weeks has passed by. SmackDown next week, Friday, is a draft. And that Monday, draft. And then that following is Backlash. And then that following, the new season starts. Like, we are in... not mania season, but we're in draft season. Like, we are literally in draft season. We are in the playoffs to start and get ready. So it's fucking excited to see where we go. I am thrilled. So bad for KO. Do I disagree with the little nitpick of KO fighting back and continue playing off? No, I don't disagree or agree with it. At the end, this is Kevin Owens' character. He's always has been the brawler, is what Corey Graves has said. So him continue being like, I'm going to still continue even until I pass down, until I can't get up. Like, that is his style. So that's why, like, he continued trying to go for Tonga. And Solo was like, you know what? I'm going to give it actually, like, one, him running back and then grabbing Tonga from the legs, bringing down. One, I didn't expect that. I'm like, shit. Okay, KO put it in the hands. He said, fuck, I don't care if I'm bleeding right now. They're being told I need to go to ER. I'm going to knock your ass down, boy.
And you know what? Maybe you could just, like, and again, it's not like I'm fully against the fight back. It was that moment you said right there with, like, the takedown right there that, well, I was just like, okay, maybe not that part, but, like, again, maybe part of it too, you could chalk it up to where, Solo and Tonga are they just need to level up a little bit more. They're level 5s fighting a level 4. It's just like, okay, yeah, your attack did a lot, but there's still like 5 HP there left. Kevin Owens didn't faint yet. You can't take him to the Pokemon Center yet, but his health is very low. So, but again, like, the tiniest, just the slip, like the atomic level of nitpick was just the little double leg takedown. But
at the end,
it doesn't ruin anything.
At the end, overall, to say my last thoughts on the segment is that I love Nick Aldis' last comments towards Paul. Like, hey, be careful what you guys think about for next week on the draft. I will have no tolerance for this bullshit. I wish he said, like, no bullshit. He said, I'm no tolerance for this behavior. I'm like, come on, Nick. Just get more upset. But, hey, your demeanor is still showing that you're the boss. Your demeanor is showing that you're tired and you're fed up with this. because you wasn't prepared as, and now you have to deal with 2 rental cars being damaged, and that's insane. And I love that.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking, just because of those comments he made, things are probably going to get a lot worse next Friday, and they're more than likely, just based off of that comment, probably heading to Raw. Because it's kind of like this has been foreshadowed for like quite a bit. Nick Aldis has just been fed up with the Bloodline. He's tired of dealing with their bullshit all the time. Even with Roman there, he was tired of the bullshit with him. Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm starting to think they're more than likely going to be heading to Raw.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that.
That'd be an interesting
bit
dynamic.
of a difference.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting dynamic of how would that flow if the Judgment stays there or if Cody stays in SmackDown. It'll be an interesting dynamic of what to decide for the draft happen. Because I know I'm gonna be reacting to sidecasts for the draft, because I'm gonna be like, wait, what? This is going to who go who? Like, this gonna be interesting because Triple H is he's gonna definitely give us some surprises of how the dynamic for for the draft will be, and what they're gonna be setting up for the show itself. Like, what type of chemistry dynamics for wrestlers and storylines that could be being set up for the new draft.
Yep. But I don't know. Do y'all have anything else to say about the Bloodline and, well, I guess the Bloodline 2.0 with Solo leading the charge? I mean, again, we're still in the early stages of everything, but we are getting some depth though, even if it is the early stages.
Fuck Solo in his suit. Paul Heyman all day. I acknowledge my Tribal Chief now because I want him to come back as my baby face. Amen. Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah, I had all my thoughts on there too.
Well, good, because we're gonna go on. We're gonna continue moving forward. Because hey, we didn't have many backstage or promo segments tonight, which was actually good. We had a lot of action. We had a lot of stuff happening. Again, a lot of momentum. A lot of let's going to Backlash. And hey, we found out somebody who's going to be going to Backlash for Cody's title, for the WWE Undisputed title. We had AJ Styles versus LA Knight in their #1 contenders match. This was pretty dang good. I don't think it was as good as their Mania match, but it was still really good. And of course, AJ Styles pulled out the victory in this pretty good match for the TV programming. Guys, how do we feel about all of this? How do we feel about the winner being AJ moving forward towards a championship match against Cody Rhodes?
Yo,
I do know that we discussed about this last week when we got the result of AJ versus LA Knight. And don't touch the keyboard.
No,
and I
don't touch the keyboard.
It's all white. But I just feel like it makes sense because, you know, they got to start off Cody's title reign strong. And I'm not saying LA Knight wouldn't be a strong first contender, but I do know that AJ Styles is one of Cody Rhodes' dream opponents, so it's nice that he finally gets the opportunity to go up against AJ Styles, because you never know how much longer AJ Styles is going to be doing this. He could be retiring soon. I mean, I've been hearing reports that, you know, he thinks he only has so much longer. So it's nice to get like a match like this out of the way. And I'm honestly looking forward to it. Like, this match at Backlash is definitely gonna make the crowd pop. You know, it's just going to be like really cool just to see these two in the ring together. I mean, just seeing them together, just face to face talking, it just sends chills down my spine. Like, this is like a dream match happening in front of our eyes, and it's crazy. I'm honestly hoping it's not just Backlash that these two feud. I'm honestly hoping that they continue it a little bit longer, because I would love for them, like I mentioned, to dive into what they did on the indies and talk about the Bullet Club and how they're both Georgia boys. It would just be interesting for them to just add more flavor to this feud instead of it just being a one-off.
Plus, AJ has faced Dusty Rhodes before.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he brings that up next week.
I hope so.
I hope he does. I hope he brings it up and just rubs it into Cody. Be like, oh, because hold on, AJ won that match against Dusty, right?
I believe so.
I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up, but I mean, if he did, there's the line of be like, I whipped your daddy and I'll whip you, like something like that.
Well, I wouldn't be
that
surprised.
You can pull on Cody. Yeah,
that's only a moment of time before he brings that up.
I want to give a big, I want to give a big shout out to my girl because I was watching, this fight. So I was here when it was 8:00. I was here doing work, getting the stream ready, doing the show, getting the lineup, stuff like that. But then I had my tablet and my speaker playing, so my girl could have watched. I knew who the outcome was gonna be. AJ Styles was gonna win, so I didn't need to see the fight because I already saw it at WrestleMania. But my girl, I wanted her to watch it while we prep dinner. The most funniest shit is when they announced the winner and what it led up to it. Me hearing my girl say, "Fuck AJ, why did you do it like that?" And just to hear like, why you gotta cheat like that? Just to hear a casual fan, like not knowing that this is all part of it, but just enjoying what they're watching on screen and what's being presented by the product was just hilarious in the most adorable way to see as a fan and to see how other people you want to get in pro wrestling enjoy it as well. It was phenomenal, pun intended, and it was a dope match. Would I say is better than the WrestleMania one? If the fight lasted another 5 minutes, it could have been. I would say that because this fight was good. It was entertaining. It was nice back and forth. I believe LA Knight had this match during the commercial break as well. He was carrying this match very well. But then AJ Styles, turning around against him. But I feel like that turnaround was kind of rushed and quick and done. But hey, I guess when you poke somebody's eyes out, they're out of commission to pin out, I guess. But hey, it was a good back and forth match between both of them, and it was very shocking to actually have them both open the show. I thought it was gonna be like a 8:00 to 9:00 ending match or main event match, but hey, it was a good way to open the show. Once we actually see the whole show and what happened, you couldn't really put it nowhere else.
Yeah, that's why I was surprised too. Like when we were like starting off the show and I saw LA Knight come out, I thought they were gonna save this as like the main event because it is a match going after Cody's title, and Cody's pretty much like in Roman's spot right now. He's the guy, he's the face of the company. So I thought this was definitely gonna be tonight's main event, but it ended up being the women's title match that we got with Bayley and Naomi, which we'll discuss in a little bit. But I'm more curious to see what LA Knight does now. Which I'm starting to think maybe this is setting up him for his departure to possibly go to Raw. Because I definitely feel when it comes to someone like LA Knight that's been on SmackDown ever since he came up to the main roster, I feel like it'd be a nice change of scenery for him. But and it also has a nice ring to it, Monday Night Raw. So
that makes sense.
I don't see why he couldn't go over there, have like fresh faces, doesn't have to worry about AJ anymore. Or I'm starting to take back what I said about Bloodline now, because I'm starting to think when they go to Netflix next year, they want all their top people over there. So I'm definitely feel like Cody might stay on Raw just because of that. Well, because why would you have?
I think eventually that could be changed anytime by the end of the year with just a champion could be changed by a manager or by the CEO or the COO just to have that as a power move. But now that I think about it, because I remember watching the Impulsive podcast with Logan Paul and Triple H right before WrestleMania. Logan Paul subbed in to Triple H saying that once the deal happens, I would love to be on Raw. He would love to be on Netflix. Logan, being the mainstream guy he is, he would love to actually be on the main show that would be promoted there.
Well, that gives you an even better reason to put LA Knight on Raw.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Hearing that. Yeah, because Triple H literally answered to him, well, You know, that could happen. The draft is in a couple weeks, and you could actually be transferred to Raw. Things could happen. You never know. And I'm like, wait, did they just throwing the hints, or are they actually saying that maybe?
now that I didn't watch that yet. I actually watched his most recent podcast that came out. I was listening to it at work, where he was talking about how he's going to be a father. Which congratulations, by the way, Logan.
That's true. Congratulations. That is
Awesome.
news that came out early this week. Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about that, it actually makes a lot of sense for Logan to be on Netflix because they would want to use him as one of those people
Traction,
a part of that Raw show. Yeah, especially since he's such a big name and he'll definitely attract a lot of attention. It would definitely make a lot of sense to like move him on that brand. So I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he goes over to Raw.
Yeah. Plus moving Sammy with the IC title on SmackDown.
Yeah.
That's fine with me. Plus,
yeah.
if you move him and you move an apparently, freshly healed Chad Gable with 2 other people who might be joining him on a nice
yes,
run,
please.
Like, putting that force on SmackDown, that is huge for that 2-hour show.
Oh yeah. Actually, now that I think about it,
that will go
if you
good
are
for the SmackDown
if you
tag
are
titles as well.
moving if you are moving Logan, I mean, I'm actually pretty convinced Logan's going to Raw now, just because of that. That makes a buttload of sense.
Yeah, because
so if we're going by that logic, that means
100%.
Yeah, so if we're going off of that logic, that pretty much means every title that we currently see on SmackDown is going to be on Raw now. What we see on Raw now is going to be on SmackDown.
And I'm okay with that.
So that means Bayley's coming to Raw, which would be a nice change of scenery for her. That means Cody's staying on Raw. That means Grayson Waller and Austin Theory are probably heading to Raw.
Yes, please. Those titles better go to Raw. It just looks better. Yes.
Yeah, because you can't have Logan there without bringing the rest of the titles from SmackDown. Because you can't have, let's say, the World Heavyweight Championship on SmackDown, and then you have United States Championship there. It would kind of make more sense if you just bring everybody who was over there onto Raw, and then obviously switch up their competitors so it's fresh for all of them.
I'm cool if they do that every year for the drafts,
especially the women's division.
Definitely.
There it is.
I'm okay if they switch to champions every year from Raw to SmackDown, from SmackDown to Raw, because it will give a change of pace for representation for the champions and for the belts itself. So it'll be interesting dynamics for what to do. So I guess for those, we're not gonna do a prediction show, but this was a little quick prediction segment of what the draft could be for next
Mainly
Friday.
only brought it up because we're just discussing what LA Knight's doing next. I thought it'd be a nice little conversation.
Yeah, because we all think that he will be going against Logan and for the U.S. title eventually because of what has led up to for the past couple
I'd say
months.
SummerSlam.
Yeah, that was
because now that I'm thinking about it, since we're on the topic of LA Knight, if he does face him at SummerSlam, which I feel like he might, there's a good chance because I feel like that was in the cards at Mania. They just wanted to save it for a later date. But Logan also said his baby's due in fall, so I wouldn't be surprised if he does drop that title to LA Knight. That way he could, have a couple months off and be with his child, and then come back whenever he's ready.
He could come back Royal Rumble. If he's gone from October, that's 4 months, 5 months until Royal Rumble in January. He could come back then.
Yeah, just depends on what his contract is, how much he has to, appear and all that. So
that too,
I mean, it could be Rumble, it could be December time, maybe late December, early December, just to pop up and be all right, I'm entering the Royal. He could be the first one to declare for the Royal Rumble. It could be something like that.
I'm so shocked and impressed of how well spoken we're speaking about a guy of Logan Paul in the pro wrestling world. I'm sorry, it's just I'm genuinely shocked and glad and happy at the same time that we're speaking about a guy who's a celebrity in his own right to some extent, and he is a content creator that has gone to the world of pro wrestling, and he actually is doing this so well and succeeding. I'm very proud of. That's just great. congrats. I'm just happy to actually see that into celebrity doing so well into this type of conversation.
Yeah. Again, like if somebody's willing to change and actually willing to, good on you. I will back you up in that.
And if
like I've
said
said in
person
the
wants to
past,
put
yeah.
the work and the time and effort and not want to pin out because they never pin out in their career, hey, you know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so great match overall. You know, I'm looking forward to see where LA Knight goes from here. AJ Styles obviously is going to be facing Cody Rhodes. I'm kind of in the same boat as you, Drop. I want this to be kind of like a little series for Cody and AJ. I don't want just one. I want like at least two. Maybe one of those
Yeah.
being with a
Because
stipulation.
I feel like since
but
it's such
yeah.
like a big match with two big stars like that, you can't just have one match. You got to continue it a
Yeah.
little bit more.
Plus the way AJ was moving tonight, I mean, I don't know, it made me think back to like, man, back 8 years ago, even dare I say, back when he was in New Japan, like his strikes were a lot heavier, his movement was a lot snappier, like he he was on a different level tonight. I mean, everybody else was too, but like AJ especially was on a different level tonight. And if he can bring that kind of intensity towards a Cody Rhodes program, we're in for something truly special if that's the case.
Oh yeah.
Same.
And as the resident phenomenal fan, give it to me. Inject it into my veins, if you will. Let me snort it. Let me, take a pill of it, just inject it. I need it. I need it in my system, And
Well, you have 3 weeks for
it
it in the Backlash of France. Well, at 3 p.m. EST, audience, know that it's an early start time as well. We're going to remind you guys starting now, since I remember at this moment, but we're reminding you starting next week, Monday and Friday.
Yep. Which means, hey, we'll have an earlier episode.
That's
to
true.
Cover that.
We will have an earlier episode, like I think probably 7 p.m. EST, which is actually not bad.
8, yeah.
Yeah, which actually
No, it's not bad at all, actually.
That we actually just be done by 10 o'clock and be like, hey guys, good night.
Good night, everybody. Unless we decide to play like Fortnite, but that's besides the point. But you know who's not playing Fortnite together? You know who's not being in a team together? It's Carlito and Santos Escobar.
I'm glad we can finally talk about this. We got to get this out of the way. We don't want to end the show on a stinker.
No, we don't, because
you're off just with the jabs already.
Because I remember we did the same thing on Monday when we were talking about the Candice LeRae and
but why did we get that match again?
But hold up.
Why did oh my gosh.
With that one, I defended at least. With that one, I defended. With this one, I literally texted the group, and I'm sorry, Santos, Carlitos, if we ever get the chance to interview and talk to you, we appreciate you guys. We appreciate your time. But understand this is me and be respectful as a critic and as a fan. During that match is literally the match where I literally start to stretch on the couch, start to do some yoga, and literally close my eyes for a bit. Because that match, not saying that I was bored, but I was not interested. And I loved the WO as a kid, but it's like Watkins has here in the notes. When will LWO take a win? That's one. Carlitos, you was a ruthless wrestler back in the day. You had a good rivalry with John Cena. It was short, but it was good. Right now, you're taking these L's against Santos. Yes, right now the L's and the W's don't matter to some characters and everything. But right now, Carlitos, for you, it matters because right now, you're not doing shit. And Delina Vega to be taken out by Elektra Lopez? What the fuck? What the hell is this?
Yeah.
Right now, I see people on the Twitter timeline throwing Zelina Vega under the bus, saying that all she does is wears cosplays and comes down the ramp and she looks good and then takes one W or takes one L week to week. And that sucks to see that because I'm a Zelina Vega fan. The fuck?
Yeah. LWO right now reminds me of Kid from One Piece. It's
Oh my
like,
God.
I want to like you. I
You
want to
always
like
goes to
you.
that
I
one.
want to get behind you. I want to be your fan. But damn it, the writer or the creator or whatever, the booker, whatever terminology, whoever it is, they're not making me want to. You are actively making me root against you. This is why at WrestleMania I wanted Dominic Mysterio to beat you.
Exactly.
Let
We wanted
that
Santos to
sink
win.
in.
We wanted Santos and Dominic to
Like-
win. Why are we getting 2 weeks later for Santos to win against Carlitos? That does nothing against for us fans. We don't care. I'm like,
Yeah.
alright, cool. What did Santos against do for Carlitos? And he's lying to us, telling us that we did nothing against Dragon Lee. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
And it's
What
like-
is this involved important to the OWO story? What the fuck is Ray?
Yeah, like okay, like it's nothing against the in-ring stuff. Like the
Oh, yeah,
in-ring
no.
stuff was
Oh yeah,
fine.
it's
You know,
storyline.
just-
Oh, yeah.
Like, what are we
it's
invested for?
storyline.
Yeah,
Make us
exactly.
care. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, because that's
Yeah.
what it all comes down to. Because it's like the thing with the LWO and Legato. It's kind of hard to tell exactly like what are we fighting for in this situation. Is it just nonstop back and forth matches, or is there going to be a conclusion that's going to be reached?
Yeah.
Because what I originally pitched that I thought we were getting a couple months ago was Santos versus Ray, and it was going to be one of those matches where Ray puts Santos over so he can get more heat on him so he can continue to build himself as a heel. It was going to be one of those typical matches where it's like, oh my god, you know, this guy's my idol. I want to see if I can surpass him, or I want to see if me and him could be on equal footing, or just one of those matches that you typically see to help build the future of the business. That's why I initially thought we were getting into. Now, because there's story there. You had that build up where he was friends with him, and then when Carlito came into the picture, Santos didn't really like that. He thought that Carlito was taking, you know, all of the attention away from him, and then that's when he just lost patience and he striked. So at least there was some story there and made sense with the direction it was going. A lot of people were invested now. Now every time you see LWO and Legato, no disrespect to them, because you know they're all great and talented. And if you guys ever want to talk to us in the future, like Vash said, I mean, hey, feel free to hit us up. We would love to interview you. It's kind of hard to follow exactly what the current storyline is, like what's being built up here. There's just a lot of missing pieces to the puzzle. It's like I'm almost done with the puzzle, but I had that last piece
Yes.
and I lost it. I don't know where it is.
It's like for the last week, I understand where Watkins could be frustrated and mad of why he got the Tegan, the Candice LeRae and the Indy Hartwell match once again. I get the frustration.
Get that again.
But at least
It's been a month, honestly, right?
But at least we try to put
Yeah,
some
it has.
story. At least we're trying to put some story for these characters to at least progress. They become heel. Maxine getting better. At least we're trying. But then with Santos and Carlitos, motherfuckers, where are we going with this? Santos, you won. You still didn't prove your point that Dragon Lee that you're not part of. Carlitos, you're taking an L but not having no character progression. You're not turning heel. You're just taking L's. And you're not being no ruthless. And the fights are nice, but you're not being invested for us. Like this, like it doesn't need to be a 5 out of 5. Like Triple H has said, it needs to be envisioned to the story. Have us, the audience, care. I don't know. I don't want to enjoy a 90% of a 2-hour show and then 10 minutes. I mean, and then the 10% stretch my legs and get my eyes ready to do a 2-hour show myself. That's not what I need.
Yeah.
I want to enjoy 100% of the show to discuss an excitement of a 2-hour show that we do a podcast to discuss a 2-hour show of an episode of SmackDown. That's what I like to do. That 10% suck ass, but not for the wrestlers. Understand that, guys. It's more of the story. For me, it seems like the other panelists was not invested, and we want to be invested. We want to be intrigued into it.
Yeah, and like I know we keep going back to like the Candice and Maxine rivalry, but here, hey, guess what? That at least had an end point with Indy embracing the dark side Like
Mhm.
that at least had a through line. That at least had something ending. What have we had with LWO versus Legado? We've had the WrestleMania match where the freaking Eagles got involved
You're still angry
and
about
Rey
that one.
Mysterio. Like, no, I hope they lose every game next year.
Yes, chat. He's still frustrated about that.
0-14. I am.
Point taken.
Boy.
He is angry about that.
Boy. But like, just something. Just give us something more than just, oh yeah, Dragon Lee got attacked. It's like, yeah, we know that. Let's actually like add some intrigue to that. Maybe like, I don't know, maybe hint at, oh, hey, I found footage of who attacked Dragon Lee that we're gonna discover about next week after we officially get it, and like maybe have somebody like, I don't know, Carlito maybe give a face. I don't know, just like something.
Yeah, exactly.
Something with it. Like not just, and it sucks being like, okay, you know, oh, they're just giving us match after match after match. It's just like, yeah, well, obviously it's wrestling. They should be giving us matches, but it's like, I need more to bite on to.
Whoever
you
is the
know.
writing or the producer for this segment of the WBO and versus Legado, get assistance. Ask people for advice. Because right now you're trenching the waters. You're not sinking yet, but you're trenching the waters. You're in the swamp. Get better, get back in it, so we could get back into the storytelling of these lucha libres, of this Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
If Rey Mysterio is gonna get betrayed by somebody else, then let him get betrayed. But let us get emotional about it. If it's 100, cool. If it's Carlitos after a year-long waiting after Backlash when he got revealed, when he got beat there, and then 3 months later coming back once again and joining the club, and then a year later you're fucking being useless. That's not what I need, Carlitos. Papi, no necesitamos así usted para ser, ¿ok? Hágalo más.
Exactly. Oh man, but I'm tired. I'm tired of it. I'm just so tired of it. You know.
No, I don't
And
blame you.
I just want more from it, and maybe we'll get more because draft coming up. Maybe since we're moving to Netflix, Rey Mysterio and LWO can just go to Netflix and go to Raw and do things over there, and Santos can thrive as he should on
I hate
SmackDown.
it how when they do the Spanish promos, they have to speak Spanish and English, but when we do the Japanese promo, we don't do the translation. We just keep it in the subtitles of English for people to read, and the actor or actresses, do the body language and do the toning and do how they want to express it. But I hate it when we do the Spanish promos, we get the little bold translation, and I'm like, just stick to the Spanish. If people don't understand it, they could go back to YouTube later and find out, or Twitter, or ask a Spanish friend and find out, what it was, the translation was. So I hope Triple H with Netflix or within the next couple months, he gets better with the storytelling for the WBO, because it would be nice to just see the promos of these gentlemen and just let them do the work. If they don't have the best English, cool. Let them do the Spanish promo, but let it feel the intense, the tension, the fear, the aggression that it is. If we need to have Santos to speak that Spanish gangster side and have him speak Spanish only and speak with the suits, like we have how we have the Don from NXT, speak his style and have his own restaurant, stuff like that. I want the Spanish culture of the WBOs, do the same as well. Like, we don't need the double translation. Just do what you need in the mic work and just get it done.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm done talking about things I didn't like. I don't like talking about things I didn't like. It wastes all the breath that I don't have on this planet. So moving on to things I do like, and I'm sure that we all liked. We had our main event That's right, Bayley defending her WWE Women's title against Naomi. We had a couple things leading up to the match throughout the night. We had a couple backstage interviews with Naomi and Bayley. Basically, Naomi and Bayley, they're both focused, both for obviously different reasons. Naomi wanting to recapture that gold that she hadn't had for years in WWE, and ever since she left, too, having to come back and basically almost build herself back up a little bit. But even though Bayley's her best friend or one of her best friends, she's not going to hold back. Gonna keep going. Bayley, she's more focused now, mainly because of Rhea having to drop her title, which, yeah, let's mention that just so we can be reminded of that. Thank you, Bayley. But yeah, she's right now she's really the only women's champion in the company, which is crazy to think about. And then I guess Bayley's not really done with damage control.
I don't know if I will agree to that, because I'm like, don't Roxanne counts as an NXT Women's Champion right now, technically, even though it's NXT
Correct,
division?
but if we're talking like strictly main roster, then it's
yes.
just Bayley.
Then yes, but I was like, when I heard that statement, like, because girl said company, I'm like, if she said main roster, then yes, but she did say represented the company, so that's why I'm like, wait, Roxanne, where is she at? I guess
I think with that, then, since you said, representing the company, because, like, not a lot of the NXT champions are doing, like, the media rounds that, like, let's say Cody is doing, for example. We're not seeing, Ilya Dragunov on USA Today, pulling off an interview. I mean, granted, we might eventually, but it's like their schedule for their workload for like media stuff and all that, or like being faces of the company,
they're
is
more
a lot
smaller,
less.
like it's more like podcasts, it's more like interviews of YouTube channel creators.
Exactly.
It's more like the small ones as the test ones until they get to the big ones. Which, hey, NXT Super, so do you want to guest on coming out in the future? We would love to welcome you.
Yeah, Ilya Dragunov, do you want to talk about?
Dude, I would love that so much.
I love
Ilya. Ilya's awesome.
Oh, Ilya, we would love to just have an hour.
Plus, he loves anime too.
Exactly, that's why. Exactly. Like, just the amount of dialogue of text he posts on Twitter about his anime inspiration of what, like, just the one sentence of what he is kind of like the model of the day, and also his workouts, the way he just adds those extra plates to his push-ups. I'd be like, bro, you motivate me, but you also don't motivate me, because you also mean, like, I'm a bitch compared to you.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, it's just shit.
Yeah, I'm like, oh,
but
even when I
but
was
going
fit,
back
I didn't
to
do
like
that.
what Watkins said about if Bayley is done with damage control, I am hoping and praying, mainly because the draft is next week and we got another one the following Monday, that she goes to a different brand, only because I want her to not only have a proper reign with the title, because she's definitely deserved it after helping shape up the future of the company and also being a very selfless person. I also just want her to go on Raw, like Vash said, so she has a fresh scenery with no Io, with no Dakota, with no Asuka, with no Bianca, just a different field for her to play in. So she's not always playing with the same people all the time. She actually has new people that she can encounter and interact with them, because I feel like it would be a very nice thing for her, because like that's one of the things I also look forward to the draft, is because we see all these different kinds of feuds play out throughout the year, and after a while, whatever that person did on that said show went through everybody, so it's almost like it's time to move on and see what else you can do that's like a little bit different. That way you can get your audience more invested in what's going on. So I'm hoping this mainly is just a Jade and Bianca thing, because if that's the case, so be it. But I'm hoping for at least Bayley, it's something new for her.
Yeah.
I agree. I backed up 100%, because I feel like with Bayley moving to Raw, if what our theory said of what our theory was earlier, that all those SmackDown titles goes to Raw. If that's the case, I'm hoping for that, because with Dakota and her savvy bitch attitude, like, you know what, we just here to watch two girls do what they need to do. And you know what, Jade came here, you're like, hey, we're here up in the top two, you came here to look, we came here to look too. And they're just having that all the sassy attitude, so I love that. But I want with Bayley to separate from Damage Control. Their story is done, and I hope that gets transferred over to Raw. And with Jade and Bianca and Naomi, they could continue the story of Damage Control. I'm happy when factions do not get, broken off or disassemble. They evolve. I love when factions evolve, because they are still what they are from the beginning, but reoccurring members are changing or improving with the whole leadership. With Damage Control, we have the Kabuki Warriors instead of Bayley being involved, and now we have Dakota as the leader, and with Io staying part. In the next coming months, we might change that or add that with other new wrestlers that got signed, the past couple weeks ago. So that's interesting to see involved, and that's what I love. The same thing with Judgment Day, the same thing going on here. So I'm excited with what happened in that pre-show before the match of Bayley and Naomi, just to see these warriors of Damage Control, Jade. Even though I would be sad when the time comes when Jade or Bianca, one of them would betray each other for the feud to happen in the future. But for Damage Control, I love how they're still being a key player to SmackDown and also to the faction of the women wrestling. So I love that very much. Even though I laugh when Dakota said, yeah, and we have our Kabuki Warriors to be the woman tag team champion. And I'm like,
oh yeah,
nobody popped for that.
Yeah.
That's one.
No.
Two, I didn't even pop for that. Three, and I'm like, hey, Dakota, good for you.
That's my biggest issue with those titles. They're just props. Like, you're not really doing anything with them. That's why they should do the same thing that NXT did recently and introduce a mid-card title.
Let's go.
But I don't want to get on the topic of that, because that can go on for hours.
Exactly.
But the only thing I wanted to just throw in there, just so we could move on with our segment and talk about the match and everything like that, is when it comes to Damage Control, I'm also very interested to see how this new version of the group is going to evolve. And you also have to keep in mind, maybe a year or two from now, what Julia's thoughts is going to be, because she knows who Io is, and she also knows who Kairi is as well. And I'm pretty sure she knows who Asuka is as well. But especially when it comes to Io and Kairi, since she had history with the both of them, really curious to see her input on how they're operating things too.
See, that's when Dakota gets kicked out.
Yeah. Honestly, that's honestly probably what it's going to be, because I always envisioned, like, in the far future, you'll still have this faction going, but it'll just be Io, Kairi, Asuka, and then Julia, because Julia is actually fluent in English. She can actually speak.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not like she's going to really struggle in that department, because one of the things that she said that she wanted to do that I remember reading is she wanted to make sure that she was able to fully understand the language and practice with it. That's why they're taking their time with her. That's why she's at NXT. She learns the ropes at WWE. That's mainly the reason why she's on there, just to learn the system. And then when the time's right, obviously she's going to be on the main roster. She's going to have, like, I honestly feel like she's going to get a Asuka run.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I could see it. I could see it.
So I definitely feel like that's going to factor in when she encounters that group again, because there's no way they're going to have those group of girls not interact with each other one day.
Yep. But yeah, so yeah, Damage Control, they have some pretty good seats to watch this championship match, and they are joined very next door by Bianca and Jade Cargill, who, they're a team right now. Cool, great, awesome. They kind of get into a little argument with Damage Control, but it ultimately just doesn't lead nowhere. It's just, hey, don't forget this feud is about to happen. tag team title feud, tee hee hee. But yeah, on we go to our main event, Naomi versus Bayley. I do want to point out, normally with WWE, whenever they do like fun big things at their pay-per-views, like for example, the 8K vision with like when we're in the ring announcing the champion and the challenger and all that, like that's one of those things you would think, okay, well, WWE's just gonna save that for like their big shows or like their backlashes, whatever have you. But like, I'm glad SmackDown had that. I don't remember if Raw had that on Monday with the IC title, but I like how SmackDown had that, and we're still gonna keep that presentation going forward, even on live TV. I think that's something really special for people that may not be able to have access to watch the pay-per-views. Like maybe they just don't get Peacock, or they can't get Peacock or the WWE network wherever they live. So
quick side tangent I must just spend 20 seconds off. Yo, your Netflix, you better put the house shows on your fucking servers when we go next year, because I want to see a fucking match of Gunther, Finn Balor, and Sammy and Gable on a house show in fucking Europe that's going on overseas, and we do not get to see it. Like, come on, Peacock, we're paying for your service. You should have at least got that in a house show. Like, we should at least have access to that. We don't care about the extra production. Let us just see the damn fucking match. That's all I fucking care for. Sorry, but I just want to put that out there, fans, because if you guys are not on Twitter or social media, we got that match in the house show. People that over there got a fucking match of Sammy, Gable, Finn Balor, and Gunther. He traveled over there. Oh my god, that match must have been fabulous, and I heard it was. Anyway, that's what I want to say.
No, you're good, Final Boss Vash. You're good. But yeah, I mean, again, this match was really good. Naomi again was a standout in this match. She had a lot of control. Oh yeah, I still love it too. But she had a lot of control in it. She kind of like AJ. Her moves were very quick, very snappy, and like very on point. I don't. This was just a really good match. This was like a good way to show two competitors that are very evenly matched, even though they have different styles, with like Naomi being more of like the kicker, or like the more of the, I don't want to say high flyer necessarily, but like more of like the stunt, or like the more of like the person that is gonna do like these crazy moves, whereas Bayley, she's more grounded. She's more like, I'm gonna kind of like tear you down a little bit more and then like hit you with a quick like suplex or something, so again, everybody was on their point for SmackDown tonight when it came to the action.
Oh yeah, really heavy wrestling.
I would agree with Naomi as well. With a lot of her wrestling moves in this match felt very grounded. Like, it felt more extra heavy. So that's one thing that kind of shocked me in that part, because it felt like, I love how the wrestlers are changing styles depending on their opponents. Who their opponents are, they change their style. So I noticed that with AJ Styles and with Naomi a bit more at the end, with how she was executing her flips, and how she was like, I heard the ring, bounce more, or like it was more louder. So I felt like those shots of Naomi was more heavier. So I did notice the small differences.
Yeah. But, very good match, very hard-hitting match. Another production note I had, too, from this match. So, I know I went on a tangent one time about, like, the corner shots, and how, like, we would stay on them even though they're in the corner, and it felt like really too close. I did like the corner shot tonight, because we weren't, like, the wrestlers weren't at the corner the whole time, being, like, right in your face, not being able to see anything. Like, they were actually like away from the corner, but the camera still held on to that shot and still was able to follow the action very well, and follow, Naomi and Bayley having a back and forth. So I do want to at least throw that out there. Now, the ending to this match,
it was Tippy time.
yeah, how are you guys feeling about Tiffy time coming out at the end of the
I was
match, like
shocked. I don't know how you guys
causing the
were.
DQ?
I was
Oh,
actually
Mm,
pleasantly shocked by this. I didn't expect this, and I'm glad I didn't because I was just expecting a regular match with Naomi taking the L. But I preferred this the Tiffy still being involved in the title picture or being in
mhm,
the forefront of the woman division and as a new superstar and how much she's being loved by the audience and how cocky she is, even though it's hard to tell if she's a heel or babyface because she's being loved by the audience, but she's being such a cocky way about it. Like she reminds me of LA Knight, where she's so good with her presence and her aura that it doesn't look like that she's a face or a heel, that she just looks like that she's good at what she does and she deserves her
mhm.
spotlight. And that's what I like about her. Like she came in, threw them in the ring, and did the most beautiful moonsault that Corey Graves always says. So I love it very much. It shocked me again, but I love how the execution right after how it led up to her being the cocky and the confident character that she is, as Tiffany Stratton is.
Yeah.
for me personally, I was not shocked to see her show up only because they were alluding to it throughout the night. And also
Mhm,
based on what happened last week with Naomi getting the title opportunity, I didn't really see this match having a clean win only because, Tiffany's going to be jealous because she's not in that position. That's why she got herself involved because her whole character is her getting the spotlight on her at all times, regardless what situation they're in. And just like we
mhm.
saw towards the end of the night, she wanted the spotlight on her. She wanted everybody paying attention to what she was doing towards the end of that match when she attacked Naomi and Bayley, caused a disqualification, and then she hit the prettiest moonsault from the top rope because she wanted to make a statement by telling everybody that, this is her time. She wants to shine. She wants to be up there with people like Bayley and Naomi and all of the other big names in the women's division because she's going to be a key player for years to come. Like that's
Yeah.
somebody that you definitely have to keep an eye on. And I feel like this was a smart decision because you were building story there from last week where you had Bayley and Tiffany in the ring and then Naomi came out and then Bayley said, "Well, I'm actually going to defend my title against Naomi in the following week." So in my head, I was already picturing that this was going to be a match scheduled to happen at Backlash because at
Yep.
least it allows
A
those
triple
three
threat.
girls. Yep, because
Yep.
at least allows those three girls to go out there and showcase what they're capable of, and it also
Mhm.
just gives people a example because this is going to be Tiffany's first title match on the main roster to show like what she's capable of and what lengths she's willing to do to get to the tippy top, like she always says. And
Yeah.
she's like I said, I don't expect her to win this match because she's my pick for the Money in the Bank this year because I feel like it
Mhm.
just fits her character
Oh
perfectly.
yeah.
Like she'll
Plus the
just blow about
merchandise.
that all the time. Yeah, exactly. She'll customize it. She'll make it plink. She'll
Exactly.
like add some fluff on it. Whatever.
Mhm.
Just like how Damien did. She'll just customize
It
it to
would
make it fit
pink
her.
us out with some razzle
Wait.
dazzle. It would remind me if anybody has seen High School Musical of Sharpay, that's
Yeah,
who she
that's
reminds me
essentially
of.
what she would. Yeah.
That's exactly
Now,
it. Wow, it literally just put in the head of what Tiffany Stratton is. It reminds me of Sharpay Evans, and if she gets
mhm.
that Money in the Bank briefcase, it literally is just with some rhinestones, all pink, glitter, sparkle. Shit.
No, I'm not gonna lie. You said something about putting fluff on the briefcase, and now I kind of want like a overly fluffy Money in the Bank briefcase, because I'm not gonna lie. There, I think I can make room. I can make room for that. I can make
Mm.
room for a pink fluffy Money
Oh,
in the
hell yeah.
Bank
I would love
briefcase.
to buy
Like,
a Money
I'll
in the
get
Bank
one.
briefcase. Hell
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
I will be pink as hell. I'll carry that shit like, yeah, right here's where I got my
Yeah.
money. and the fluff with
Then I'll
the
smack
wings.
somebody in the face with it and cash in my Money in the Bank contract.
But overall,
Like,
I'm very happy for Tiffany to be involved in this spotlight. Her to be involved with Naomi and everything else. Like even right after, for her to bring them to the ring, and Jade and Bianca was ready to go downstairs. Yo, like Bianca was ready to take off her earrings. Like, yo, I'm ready. I'm down. Just shit. We're
right?
about to get to square up, Tiffany. I'm gonna beat you, whip your ass. So I just love
Yeah.
that. And with Tiffany, like, can't wait to see what she continues to do. What gets the next step for her? Will she be involved in Backlash in France? It'll be very interesting what will be the next setup and what's gonna happen. Like draft is next week SmackDown, so storyline will be pushed, but it'll be interesting. Like how will it be pushed? How will they have matches? And what is the consequence for these matches after? Since right now stories will be
Mhm.
pushed, but then in a matter of a second, those matches could mean inconsequential once we get an announcement of one person going to a different show and that person staying there. So it'd be so interesting how Nick Aldis could make it feel a twist, but also feel it
Mhm.
you don't know what to expect. So I will hope that twist to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited that we got to this outcome. I was kind of in the same boat as Drop. I was expecting Tiffany to be involved somehow, and I'm kind of glad we went with the DQ finish because I think neither Bayley nor Naomi should be eating a loss right now. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
especially Bayley, but like Naomi definitely right now too. I mean, coming off of WrestleMania after the big win she had, and after coming back at the Royal Rumble, like Naomi kind of needs to stack up some wins and
Mm.
show everybody again just how legitimate she is. And tonight kind of showed that. Again, she was moving in that ring pretty dang well. And this is coming from somebody. I'm not gonna lie, like. Naomi before she left the company, I wasn't a fan of her style. Like
Mm.
I felt like she was very kind of held back a bit, but that could
Mm.
also have been just the environment at that time of the company. So that could also have been a thing.
Yeah, I
But
definitely feel like that played a big part in it.
yeah, probably more than likely it did. So
I'm
yeah, I
glad
am
that the
looking
name that
forward.
shall not be named is gone, and we're
Yeah.
better with a freedom
Yep.
of the company to give ideas where things could get better, and all these superstars could give their input and suggest what they want to do. And even if it gets knocked down, it's a freedom of speech here with the company, and it's new vision of the era.
And when
Mm-hmm.
they get knocked down, they get up again. And they
Mm-hmm.
ever gonna get me down.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was SmackDown. Hey, we talked about SmackDown as long as SmackDown was on the air. Isn't that great, everybody? It was, man, and it was a really good show. I mean, yeah, we had the one stinky part with Carlito and Santos, but that's really just stinky because of the story.
Oh,
Action was
overall,
still pretty good.
overall, this match was phenomenal. Pun
Hmm.
intended. It was truly happy how this SmackDown, last week's SmackDown, has been hitting. Like Raw SmackDown has been an 8 out of 10 and above. This SmackDown was literally a 9 out of 10. It was not much that you could change, and not much that you can improve. Of course, there's also room for
Hmm.
improvement, but like you said, the Santos and Carlitos is what it is. Santos Carlitos story could be invested. The writing is what it is, but they did a good match for what they could offer. But for the tag team quadruple number one contender match, it was phenomenal. I love it. It was truly a back and forth fly hires, and AOP love how they was involved. We got Street Profits being the number one contender. The WWE tag team titles were fucking beautiful, phenomenal. It was sexy. I will definitely buy them, as my broke ass will, but not. It won't happen until next year.
Mm-hmm.
However, the main event, yo, Tiffy Top, let's see what you got, girl. You put in the time, you put in the work. Let's see what
Hmm.
you bring in the next couple weeks, in the next couple months. Show us what you got for the rest of the year 2024. And Kaiser, you better put in the work as well. If your girls put in the work, we better see you put the work as well, my man.
Yeah, Ludwig, come on. get those tag titles, or get the IC title back for Imperium. You can do
Yeah.
that. Sure, you could.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Or
mind
get some other
CUFA.
titles.
I don't mind. Let's go. How
Yeah.
about you, Joe? What did you think about this overall SmackDown last stuff that you want to add?
I thought it was a pretty good episode. I like how we actually have tag titles that actually look like tag titles. I'm glad that we got Cody and AJ confirmed for Backlash. That's going to be a great first feud for Cody, and like I mentioned throughout the show, I really hope it gets extended. I am also excited to see Tiffany and Bayley and Naomi get some shine in that triple threat match that I feel like we're probably going to get confirmed next week. So I'm really looking forward to that because all three of those girls deserve the time to shine. So I am all for that. But other than that, really, and obviously with the Bloodline stuff, I like how it's telling us as the watchers to take this new version of the Bloodline seriously, especially with Tama Tonga showing how he's somebody not to be force not to be reckoned with. I mean, he's hitting KO of his car and he's dragging him out. He's all bloody and stuff. That definitely tells you that this is going to be a crazy story moving forward. So I'm really interested to see what other plot threads we're going to be getting out of this. But other than that, that's honestly like all my thoughts on the episode tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it was a very, very strong episode of SmackDown. And, I think that about does it for us here with the team. And hopefully everybody in the chat, in the comments, hopefully you had a good time as well. Vash, where can the people find us if they want to talk to us?
Like I said at the beginning of the show, guys, you should follow us with the hashtag of Weebs of the Ring, where you could use it on Twitter, IG, TikTok, where it's everywhere on all social media. The same thing where you can follow myself, Legend D Vash. I as well for Watkins, MW at the ends, and drop this box like it's hot. Where you can find us at AniMa W3 Studio with the 3 everywhere else on social media. And you know why? Because there is short form content that is on the TikTok, on the Reels, and AEW content that we cannot take the full time and commitment to do. But you will check them out on the social media. Things that we cannot always have the full time discussion for a full video in the professional side in the best way that we could deliver. You'll find in the short form content. So that's where you find us in all the social media, and Monday and Fridays at 10:30 p.m. on the Friday nights of Friday Night SmackDown, and the Monday nights at 11:30 p.m. ST on YouTube and Twitch multi-stream. Right, Watkins?
That is right. What a wonderful plug that was. Awesome plug from Vash. But as always, I want to thank you. That's right, you watching this right now. Thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to the Weebs of the Ring podcast. If you enjoyed what we had to say, do exactly what Vash just said. Why not? I mean, you're already online. You're already on your phone. You're already on your tablet. You're already on your computer. I'm sure there's a tab open of Twitter. There you go, right there. Just remember, we're known as AniMa W3 Studio on all those social platforms. Just remember, that's we with a 3. And also, use the hashtag Weebs of the Ring to interact with us about anything regarding wrestling before, during, or after our shows. Feedback is always appreciated, as we are nothing without you tuning in. Weebs of the Ring is presented by AniMa W3 Studio. Thanks to our production team of Vash, Watkins, Drop This Box, Rome with a Dot with the awesome logo, and Jokester bringing us all the gaming content here on Twitch and YouTube whenever we decide to put them on YouTube. As well as special thanks to JB and Abe for everything you guys do in the background for us. Thank you once again for joining us, and remember, no stunt grannies were harmed in the recording of this podcast. Have a good night, everybody.
Enjoy your night, guys. Have a good rest.